Halloween.
Forever.
What's the difference between a snowman and a snowwoman?
What?
Guys, you got to rack your brain. You got to know this one.
I just don't want to say it.
It's Snowballs. Welcome, boys and ghouls, to a very festive Minisode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
Ooh, I'm sick. I ain't feeling too good, boys and ghouls. I feel like I'm gonna fork and die. Some sort of horrible virus is running through my house.
Good way.
Yeah, you're just like sick. You're sick as fuck.
I'm sick.
I used to work with this guy. His name was Jim Pratt, by the way. Jim Pratt, only ever wore jeans and a jean jacket. He's just exclusively a denim guy. And we used to use the phrase sick as fuck to describe Jim Pratt. So to this day, my cousin, my brother, and I will be like, oh, that's Jim Pratt sick as fuck. And sick as fuck could be a good thing, but also could be not a good thing. So we'd be like, Jim Pratt's jean jacket's sick as fuck, but Jim Pratt's driving is sick as fuck. Like, it's not good. So it's all about how you say it. So sick as fuck really could be good or bad.
I mean, I like the word because I feel like somehow it has become habitual. Primarily happens at work where anyone says anything to me, and even if it's super boring and I don't want to hear it, I'll just be like, sick. And that's all I say to people.
My favorite one to do, to be dismissive of something somebody says, is just say, oh, wow. Like if they're saying something that's like they're acting like it's super exciting, but it actually is not at all. Just go, oh, wow.
I've used
wild.
Both of those in the past, but can I share with you, this has triggered a core memory of when I was a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I remember how I used to be really dismissive of people I didn't want to talk to. And they would start telling a story and I would just say, oh, hold on, I have to take this. And then I would put up the fake phone to my hand and then walk away.
That's great. I used to do that with a banana all the time. I used to every time I saw a banana, I'd pretend it was a phone and interrupt. Somebody could be giving a eulogy. If I saw a banana, I was pretending it was a phone, and I would make the ring sound.
Oh,
I actually had a beer festival one time. I made a phone booth out of cardboard, like a big giant cardboard box, and inside was a little table with a banana on it, and it said use banana phone for beer. And then people would have to walk in the phone booth, pick up the banana, say ring, 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 and then I would answer and then give them beer through a little slot.
I like that.
Yeah. I did it to the CEO of Miller Coors. I made him do the whole thing. It was
nice.
Hilarious.
I feel like it's like a perfect middle finger to beer festivals is you make people really work for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like they don't want to do any of this stuff. And it's going to really, they're not having fun with it.
Do.
It's only for me. The joke is embarrassing about making them do all these things.
This isn't a surprising story out of you though, being that you also tell us the stories of Carnegie time when you put on the glasses to let everybody know that now you're the manager.
Yeah, the manager. I'll go get the manager. Hold on a second. Yeah. Or how we used to set booby traps so people spray themselves with mustard all over their nice white shirts. I love a prank. I love a prank. In any way, guys, you know
You're
what?
A fucking asshole.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I like it. But I like it.
Yeah.
You know, but I like it. Like, I don't want you to change ever, Brian.
Oh, don't worry. There was no chance of that happening. There is a chance that we're going to talk about a prank of a movie in a lot of ways. This is a movie that I chose for a punishment for you two insolent rat fucks because you lost and you deserve whatever's coming to you, right? Meg's just doing her thing where she's not acting like she's not paying attention to me while she's talking, looking at her phone. But your boy brought home the strap for the second month in a row, by the way. So,
Please don't acknowledge
champ of November,
you.
Also champ of December. So, what that means is your boy gets to pick what that some bitch and punishment movie is. And I decided it's that time of year, right? It's the season for pleasing. And please, I don't know what that means, but the pleasing is going to happen for me because I got to watch and talk. I'm going to get to talk about.
Do you say that because Santa fucks?
I wish. No, Santa's a real fucking prude. But I get to talk about one of my all-time, not only just my favorite horror, Christmas horror movies, but one of the horror movies that I have the longest history of any film out there. I think this came out when I was probably like 11 years old, and I've watched it 1,000 times since then. The movie is called Jack Frost from 1997, and it ain't that Jack Frost you're thinking of. It's the one brought to you by one Mr. Charles Band.
Now, Brian?
Yeah.
You said this last episode.
Is this not a Charles Band movie?
I'm going to have to give you actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
this was before it was Full Moon Features, right?
No, this has nothing to do with Full Moon.
I thought it was.
No, this is
called.
This is a Moonstone Entertainment feature.
Oh, I thought that was one of his other companies because he's had like 90 versions of it.
Well, so Moonstone Records is the company that Charles Band owns and puts out the
soundtracks and shit.
Soundtracks, yeah. But
Right.
Moonstone Entertainment has nothing to do with Full Moon or Charles Band.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah. However, I think it's kind of relevant to talk about.
Yeah.
Moonstone Entertainment they're another independent feature producer.
Yeah.
And recently in the news, a lot of people saw, Albert Pune has passed away, and Moonstone put out a lot of his features, including the entire Nemesis series.
Well, dang it. I learned something today around a movie that I just talked about that I've seen a bajillion times. And I always assumed that it was Charles Band because it was, because Moonstone, I just thought it was one of his companies. But apparently Moonstone Records and Moonstone Entertainment are two different things.
Yeah.
Well, good goddamn. I've been delivered the gift of knowledge here today by you, Steve. I appreciate that.
It's okay.
But it does not take away from the fact that could very easily be a Full Moon feature.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing is like a lot of Moonstone Entertainment features still fall under that umbrella of direct-to-video awesomeness because, like I said, it's Albert Pune movies. There's a couple Van Damme films in there. There's some Shannon Tweed shit in that. There's a couple Cynthia Rothrocks, and then the Jack Frost films.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it definitely fits in that. I would say the sentiment is still resonates through this film. In any case, let's talk about Jack Frost from 1997. Steve's seen this before. Meg, you had not seen this before. Is that accurate?
No.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I actually liked it.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
I want to watch it again probably before Christmas or maybe on Christmas.
Yeah, this movie.
It will be part of my roster now.
This one, every year, I watch this. I watch, obviously, Black Christmas, Christmas Evil, and Santa Sleigh. Like those have become my like core Christmas horror films. But this one goes back to, I used to rent this at the old Eagle Video and the old newsstand video or whatever the fuck it was called in Elwood City, which was the real grimy ass one. And we used to rent this. The first time I saw it, I remember very distinctly being, probably 11 years old. And my friend, whose name is also Brian, his dad used to rent all the Full Moon features and all it was the first time I saw Head of the Family was at his house. Like first time I saw Blackula, I remember was at his house. Like I got introduced to a lot of these films sitting, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, watching them at his house. And my aunt was always into the actual scary stuff. Like she loved The Exorcist. She loved The Omen. She loved all those like classic, she's a big fan of Poltergeist, but schlock horror, I really my first taste of came from hanging out around his house. And he was telling me about Jack Frost. And I thought for sure he was lying. He was like, it's fucking wild. It's the weirdest movie ever. There's so many like funny lines and dumb shit in it. And he's just saying all this stuff. And I'm like, there's no way that's in a movie. Like, there's just no way. He was like, and the snowman, he like fucks this girl with his carrot nose. And I'm like, this just sounds like a 12-year-old lying.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
And so I'm like, no, he doesn't, you
does.
asshole. You're straight up lying. And then we watched it and I was like, you almost underplayed this. Like, you almost slow played how insane this movie is.
Was it like an issue of like he was also the kid that told you there was a nude code in Mortal Kombat?
Oh, yeah.
Or-
He was 100%
Yeah, okay, so, yeah.
that kid
Right.
who would be like, yeah, I figured out the way that if you jump across these 3 rocks or whatever, Laura Croft shows you her boobs. You know what I mean? Like, he was that kind of guy. So I thought for sure he was lying about this, but no, he told the truth. Like I said, this movie came out in 97. It is available on Tubi, as all great things are.
Hey, if you pay for Amazon Prime, watch it on Amazon Prime. Wait, I know I'm doing sacrilegious things, but hey, no commercials.
Yeah, just bite your fucking tongue. That's all I'm saying. Is just bite your fucking tongue. Although I will tell you this, the version
I
on
did this coming with it.
Tubi.
I'm like, no, I shouldn't be saying this. It's now great. Now I understand what it means to have grown up in a religious household where you're like, fuck, I feel bad about this thing. Ryan, what are you fucking doing to me? You're creating a cult and I hate it. And I'm sucked in.
Well, here's the thing about the Tubi version. I will admit I was a little disappointed. Is it was edited a little bit. The version I saw, it did cut out a little bit of the of the infamous scene, which we will talk about, was cut out of it. But in any case, before we get into the nitty gritty on Jack Frost, we got a couple other some bitchin' things to do. First of all, does anybody drinking beers here or what?
I'm drinking beers.
Degens?
I'm drinking beers. I got beers, and it's an appropriate beer. It's an appropriate beer.
All right.
I'm drinking Southern Tier beer. And it's their Nitro Hot Cocoa Stout.
Oh,
sounds so appropriate.
It is.
Yeah,
I feel like you don't talk about Southern Tier enough. Do you like Southern Tier beers in general?
I like the Blackwater series. So like anything that's the nitro. So like this hot cocoa one's pretty bomb. Creme brulee, I love. That's just like my holdover from like when I first started drinking.
Yeah. Well, and like they were like some of the OGs. Like I like again, if no one knew this, like that was the first brewery I worked at. So creme brulee actually kind of like haunts me and like my senses a little bit because of how we like added the creme brulee. But no, those beers were always really delicious. Like Chocolat was like one of my favorites.
Oh my god,
like,
that beer is.
Add that to champagne, guys. Like
it's a decadent
holy
beer.
Shit. It's a really really nice one.
Well, it's like Gloop Glop, but it's not as Gloop Gloppy. Like it actually is shelf stable.
It was pre Gloop Glop. But
yeah, it was the grandfather of modern Gloop Glop
They were
beers.
too big to be real Gloop Glops.
Right.
Well, that's the thing.
Big.
Yeah, and by too big also means that they know how to make beer because there's so many fucking little breweries that just put absolute horse shit that settles out of their beer and it's not shelf stable, and then it literally the last quarter of the can comes out like you're pouring fucking straight up puree into your glass because you are.
Yeah.
But then I'm haunted by the aromas of like pumpkin and like,
I believe it. Yeah.
Like I still can't smell those beers. Like oh my god. Like I've definitely vomited like pumpkin before, so like it's a threefold thing. It's like not only did I have to like filter that beer and do the pumpkin like the flavor for it, but then I drank too much of it and like vomited it. Man, guys, like
that'll happen.
Yeah, it makes sense. I've thrown up coconut rum in the past, and I don't drink coconut rum anymore. It's just one of those traumas.
If I throw something up that it just makes me want it more. Like I felt like I lost that little bit of it and I want it back into my body.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm here on this earth to do one thing. That's consume. All right. And if food gets away from me, it feels like it feels like a kill escaped. You know what I mean?
That almost like you're saying that sober, but it sounds like something you would say drunk.
Yeah.
Like as you're vomiting, that's what you would say.
Get back in. Nom, nom, nom. Yeah. You will not escape me.
But you just think those things very soberly.
Yeah. You can't escape me. I don't care if you're an inanimate object. I don't care if you're a liquid. You can't escape my gullet. I'll take you down.
Your gullet's very codependent.
Brian, the blob.
Yeah, I really consider myself that. I become stronger as I, consume more things, as my blood sugar spikes. I am drinking a classic of the genre, a little Sierra Nevada Celebration. I always grab me a Celebration, a little 6-pack Celebration every dang year. It's delicious beer. I do get annoyed in how much people rave about it. It's Sierra Nevada.
I like it.
I love it. It's great. Sierra Nevada, though.
But I'm one of those people raving it.
Well, this is the thing, is it's just a crystal malty IPA.
Oh yeah, I feel like we've talked about.
We have talked about this. Like there is 700 other beers on the shelf at any one given time that taste exactly like this beer. Now, Sierra Nevada, I will argue, does it as good or better than anybody else. Like I have nothing but they might be the world's greatest brewery in my mind. Not that I buy their stuff as much as, or I'm not saying they're my favorite brewery. I'm just saying Sierra Nevada could legitimately be the world's greatest brewery. But I hate how people act like it's such a novelty because it literally is just a West Coast IPA with a little bit more crystal malt that nobody buys year round. But then you put it in a red can, everybody goes, "Oh, yay." And
but
just
it's
lines
served
up for it.
in December, Brian.
That's what I'm saying. It's so
But it's also wet. Isn't it wet hop still? Like
No,
it's still
it's
wet
not.
hop.
It's not wet hopped.
Oh, okay.
It's fresh hopped, which is a non-existent thing. So wet hopped is literally hops that have not been dried and are extraordinarily perishable. And unless you either want to fly a plane directly from the Pac Northwest, or you grow your own hops, or you live right up the road from, Yakima or something like that, you're really not making wet hop beers very often. Unless you're a big brewery that flies in a bunch, because wet hops will start to mildew in 30 some hours. But fresh hop, all that really means is they're using this year's crop.
Are you serious? That's what I always, because I feel like sometimes, and you know this, like those words can be used interchangeable, but like I thought Sierra Nevada, like they were growing their own hops.
It is not a wet hopped beer.
Okay.
It's using, they use whole cones.
Whatever.
But
that's fine. Oh, and I knew that. I knew they were pretty prominent on that one.
But it's dry. They are just this. The way that they have described it in the past, because there is a bit of I would say a confusion around people who think it is a wet hopped beer, but it's not. It's just
they're just using some words. They're just using words.
Fresh hopped is not a thing. It's just a marketing term, but it's a delicious beer. Don't get me wrong. But like I said, people get a boner over liquid that if it was in any other can, any type of other time of the year, they wouldn't give a fuck about it. I'll get off my soapbox here, guys.
You should get off, because I would give a fuck about it all year round if it was available more. No, but I also just get excited.
How often do you drink?
I fucking would.
No, you wouldn't. How often do you drink Torpedo?
Well, Torpedo's like higher gravity in it, so I don't drink it that often.
Barely.
You give me a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, on the other hand, if I see it, I'll fucking drink it.
But I'm just saying, it's that intentional scarcity. It's the McRib effect.
But I'm like, and I'm super cool with that, though. I appreciate that, because I'm also now already getting excited about Nugget Nectar.
And that's like another example.
It isn't another. It's the exact same thing, though. Yeah. It's almost the exact same beer.
It's very similar.
It's Trogs.
Yeah.
And it happens in January. So we get Celebration, and then I get Nugget Nectar.
Yeah. No, they're great beers. It's just
they're solid beers.
Yeah. Like we have a beer called Vulpulin that tastes the same, and it doesn't get a quarter of the hype.
So, hey, Brian, do your job better.
Yeah. And just release it one time a year and act like it's special.
Yeah.
Yeah, stupid. Okay. Make it your March beer.
Yeah.
Go.
Or Two Hearted. Bell's Two Hearted. I would argue that this is better than Bell's Two Hearted, but Bell's Two Hearted is around all year round.
I feel like this is a larger argument. But not even argument, but like this is all, we are literally hitting on nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
You create something that someone loves and they associate it with a memory.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to fucking eat it the fuck up. Mm-hmm. You make it available all the time. Why would anyone give a fuck?
Well, here's the thing: is I think maybe I'm not communicating my displeasure here very accurately, and we are going to talk about Jack Frost, guys. Don't worry. The other thing that bothers me about it's not really that people like it. I'm glad people like it because it is a great beer and it deserves to be loved.
I know.
I think it's annoying that people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and listen, call me a gatekeeper, whatever, but people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about talk about this beer like it's God's gift to beer. And I'm like, Sierra Nevada makes other beers like it all year round that you never drink. But because it's one of those beers like Allagash White, which also deserves to be praised, that certain like influencer type people on the intranets decided to christen this unbelievable thing. Now it gets all this credit. Meanwhile, there's other beers out there that nobody fucking talks about that are amazing, but they just haven't caught that, enough influencer attention.
I think we need to air our grievances as a whole about the beer industry, maybe on an episode. Yeah, like in an episode or two right now. Because I mean, no, I mean, everything you're saying, I'm like, this is what the beer industry is.
Brands. Like, I know it's just a lifestyle brand thing, but
and like to a certain extent, there's like a piece of me that's like, let people like what they like. Let people, even if it's like skewed and like all influenced. But then there's the other side of me, as you're expressing, who has seen all of this stuff happen. We have seen like all of the changes in the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Like, I'm old man yelling at cloud. I totally get it.
I mean, you are, but at the same time, it's like, I fucking get it. Like, I know that feeling.
Yeah. It's just, I've been in the industry a long time, and I'm just thinking of things to get annoyed about. So,
you're both too old and too embedded.
Stop being mad.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I've been in the beer industry for like 15 years. Like shit is just
you just call
boring
me old.
for me.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't call you old. I called him. He's both too old and too embedded.
Yeah, that's probably true.
You said you guys.
No, I said you. I said you singular to Brian.
Sure.
I didn't call you old. Fine, Meg, you old too. Shut up.
Talking about your chocolate and all that bullshit. That beer came out in 94.
I had like one nostalgic story that's actually pretty good, Steve, regarding creme brulee. If we're going back for a moment, when I was moving out to Oregon, I was driving through Colorado and stopped at Oscar Blues and walked in, was like wearing like a fleece jacket that had a Southern Tier logo on it, and they were like drinking creme brulee on the bar. And I was like, oh, this is sick. And it ended up being like people who worked there that were drinking it. So I ended up, nice having these like conversations. They gave me a tour. I was the only one fucking there because it was like in the middle of the day. And they sent me off with a bunch of blow fills that pretty much got me through like my first semester at school.
Sure.
In Oregon. Like,
living off low fills.
We're fucking shoving this. Yeah,
that's the life. Living off low fills, sleeping on grain sacks.
I actually have a can of 1050 in the fridge right now, but all this Sierra Nevada talk, all it's made me do is think about like, I want an Otra vase now.
Oh yeah,
that beer fucking rules. I love Sierra Nevada.
If we're talking about like more Sierra Nevada beers that rule, that are like out there all the time.
Did they discontinue that beer?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long time. That sucks because I hope they didn't, because that beer was fucking
similar
really
beer
good.
that or similar like vein of that beer that I also get really excited about is Festina Petch.
Oh, okay,
Dogfish.
Always like that beer.
Oh man, I loved that beer. I actually don't have had it in years though. Anywho, again.
All right, guys. Jack Frost, 1997.
No, I want to talk about what I'm drinking.
What are you drinking? And it looked like you were drinking tomato juice.
Light right now.
One, we have to do what Meg's drinking. Two, we have to do picker wheel.
Oh yeah, shit. All right, guys, come on. Get your shit together here. Let's go.
So I have two things next to me. The first thing that you're seeing that looks like tomato juice has a bunch of fruit in it and spumante.
Yeah. Is that
Asti spumante?
And it's delicious. So go fuck yourself.
It looks like he threw a bunch of cranberries and some Smirnoffs.
It's good. It pretty much tastes like that, actually. But I'm into it.
You went down, go up all Asti spumante. That's the Yinzer champagne, New Year's Eve champagne of choice. Asti spumante.
Yeah, there's a little bit left over. So again, I was just like, one glass for Meg.
Yeah.
The other thing I have here is a very disheveled bottle that's like moved around with me for the last like year and a half, 2 years. It's a bottle of Half Acres mixed culture beer. There's Parfait Hut. I think it has like bunch of oats in it. It's like mixed ferm, a lot of fruit. It's pretty tasty. I think obviously I probably hung on to it too long, but it's like one of those bottles that I hung on too long. I was like,
here's what it comes down to. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you hung on to it too long.
I got this bottle of Odie Gloop Glop. I don't know. Maybe it's too old.
It looks pretty good, though. I mean, it looks pretty good. But I don't think it's as complex as it sounds. So that's why I think I hung on to it long. But that was the bottle I got. I was reminded because I finally drank my bottle of Dark Lord at the Pink Boots party last night. I got this bottle the same trip, but I decided when Avery Swanson, she was brewing out of Half Acre for a while there, and was really excited about all her labels and just how she talked about her products. So I decided on a whim on a Sunday to drive to Chicago and back in one day, and I got this bottle on that trip. So
that's a drive. That's a hike.
Yeah. I actually listened to last podcast, I think the entire trip. So I think it was 17 hours of last podcast.
Your brain got broked.
Kept me entertained.
All right, guys, let's spin that son of a bitchin' wheel. For those of you who are new to the show, I'll explain to you real super fast. Every month we have a Showdown episode on the first Monday of the month. We pick the topic from a big old spinny wheel of topics that we've tabulated over the last couple of years, and we pick them randomly, 3 of them. Then we post them on the social medias, and our listeners and social media friends vote on one. Once they decide what it is, we announce it, and then we pick a movie that is associated with that topic. Each one of us do. Then during that Showdown episode, we argue about it, and, we get a big old bag of tacks. We throw them out on the mat. Then somebody gets frog splashed onto them. Something like that happens. Ultimately, we vote. Someone takes home that son of a bitchin' championship belt for the month. And again, let me remind you, your boy's back-to-back champ, month over month. And then the week after that, whoever wins gets to pick a punishment movie for the other 2 to watch. That's why we're watching Jack Frost. Because your boy is in this instance, a kind and gracious champion. So Steve is going to spin that sumbitchin' wheel, and we're going to get them 3 topics for the dog shit month of January. And we'll see what it is. Yeah, we'll see if it's something that will cheer us up. Because again, January sucks ass.
Yeah.
January, February.
Why
honestly,
are you talking
2
so much
worst
shit?
months. 2 worst months.
They're bad months. They're no good.
Shit months.
No good.
I mean, they're cold, but
shit months. Nothing to do.
They're quiet.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I need quiet right now, guys. You probably understand more than anyone. I need quiet.
Yeah,
I need January and February type
they are
months.
Calm. That's true. I will say that. That's the best thing they got going for them. Otherwise, they're horseshit. All right. What are we going to be picking from? What are our social media friends and listeners going to be voting on for that Showdown episode in January?
So the first one that we picked is Cosmic Horror.
Ooh, I like that. Did that come up before?
It's come up before, but I don't think it definitely didn't win.
No, it didn't win, but
yeah.
Cosmic Horror. I like that a lot. And that is actually a really fun January episode. I like weird existential shit in after the new year, because you're reevaluating yourself. You're kind of what do I want to do, what do I want to be in this new year, what new endeavors do I want to take on? Cosmic Horror feels like a suitable pick for January. What's number 2?
There's definitely been some good ones released as of late as well, so
it feels like there's a lot of people like doing Lovecraftian things in recent years more disproportionately.
Yeah, a lot of people doing Lovecraft, but with a caveat of we know he's racist.
We get it.
But
he's a xenophobe. Yeah, he is a xenophobic weirdo.
He's dead and everything. So
yeah, fuck him. He's dead.
The second category though is the space sequels. And so this is any franchise that has a sequel set in space.
Yeah, so that would be obviously your Jasons.
Jason X.
You obvious got your critters.
Got
your leprechauns.
4? I think it's Critter 4 that's in space. Yeah.
Yep. You got your leprechauns.
That's also 4.
Yeah. What
Hellraiser,
else?
Also 4.
Hellraiser, also 4. My Door is 4. All right, so that sounds cool. There's got to be some other ones in there that we don't even know about.
I'm sure. You gotta look.
Jack Frost 4?
Maybe.
Jack Frost in Space?
Jack Frost in Space. Space Snow.
So what's next? We got cosmic horror and space sequels.
Yes, and finally,
which sound more related than they are.
To get super sweet. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I like this because now we have a category. We're for sure guaranteed to get a category that's never won before, that we've never done, because now this one is Little Monsters.
Little monsters. I love that. So that's your little ghoulies, your critters, your munchies, your gremlins, obviously.
Do we leave gremlins off of this?
We do. I was actually just thinking that because we've already talked about Gremlins 2, the new batch. We did an entire episode on it, I think, or I picked it for something.
And it's just so obvious that Gremlins 1 would beat out all of the other ones that they kind of inspire. Gremlins inspired.
Except for Gremlins 2.
Well, yeah. Gremlins inspired
I want to go
many.
into munchies and weird shit like that.
Yeah.
Hobgoblins. If you've ever seen Hobgoblins, that's a fucking trip. I love that movie.
Weird.
I agree. I would agree to exclude Gremlins if you guys were okay with that.
I'm good with that. Yeah,
that's fine.
Okay. All right. So just to recap, cosmic horror. Your space sequels in space. Let's call it sequels in space. And little monsters. That's all your little ghoulies and creepies and munchies and things like that. All right. So we'll put that out on the social medias here in the coming days, and then Yins can vote on it, decide which one you want to do. Then that's fun. I'm very excited. I'm excited to do any and all of those for January. When the seasonal depression is really kicked in, and you need some stupid shit to cheer you up. So I'm excited about that.
Critters comes in twice.
Yeah. We just had a little Critters conversation as well. So, and Critters. Two of those could be Critters. Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I would go as far as to say we could probably figure out one of those that's cosmic horror as well. Probably not. All right, guys, on to the main event, the main course, the ham stuffed with a turkey, stuffed with a chicken, stuffed with a duck, stuffed with a pheasant, stuffed with whatever a smaller bird is. The main course here, guys, Jack Frost, 1997. Did you guys know? I think
ultimately in your turducken would actually be like the carrot on Jack Frost's nose would probably
be at the base.
The center.
Yeah, in the center. Yep. You just jam it up the mouse's ass.
Because right in there.
Didn't they used to do that in like the olden times, in the medieval times? They would literally have like they would get us down to the point where like the smallest animal jammed inside was like a mouse.
Sure, why not?
They were fucked up.
I have no proof of that, but
the old days were fucked up. All right, guys.
Brian did it this year for Thanksgiving, so I don't know.
Actually, I didn't even do progressively larger animals. I literally just jammed a bunch of mice into other mice. It was wild. It was fucked up.
His turkey was actually just stuffed with mice.
I actually took a turkey and I just stuffed it with like 40 mice. It was so weird. All right. So first of all, the thing that always sticks with me that I when I used to watch as a kid, I didn't remember for whatever reason that much. And then like in recent years, it's like this has stuck with me more, is this weird credit sequence at the beginning that's so strange and
that didn't stick with you.
That was like the first thing. I don't know why.
Shit's creepy. This is creepy uncle vibes.
Oh, big time. It's strange. It's fun, but it's also like kind of uncomfortable. But there's like the thing that makes it slightly less creepy is the person who's doing like the little girl voice is clearly like
30
an adult. Yeah. And then they have the uncle, and it's basically telling the story about Jack Frost, the serial killer. And he's just kind of going off, telling this like creepy story on, Christmas Eve or whatever to his niece or something like that. And the cool thing that I love is, bouncing around to the different ornaments on the tree, and it's the credits, which I'm a sucker for.
I'm just going to assume that this uncle would actually be the person who would be like a copycat killer.
Feels that way.
Sure.
Feels that way. I would I would go as far as to say that should be a spinoff. where that guy is like the copycat killer in, because there's only 2 movies in this series,
and
right?
like the niece is like trying to figure out who the new killer is because she like heard the story from her uncle. Lo and behold, it's her fucking uncle.
It's Harry,
What?
Uncle Harry, or whatever the fuck his name is.
It almost feels like it would be like a wraparound for an anthology where like creepy uncle tells stories of killer monsters, and then at the end he too is also a killer.
Oh, that's some Goosebumps shit. That little twist ending.
The voice though is
Steve, I would watch that.
Yeah. The voice though is the director.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize. Is he British?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
He is a British fellow.
One of them Brit fellas. This movie is such a like such a weird thing to say, but this is such like a cozy movie for me. Like this is such just like a cozy snuggle up with some hot chocolate movie for me. Like it legit gets me in the Christmas spirit. One, because it has awesome music.
Yeah.
And I am unabashedly a fan of Christmas music. Like I love the classics and all that stuff. Not all of them. Some of them suck. But I like weird Christmas music, like strange, like creepy, depressing Christmas music, especially like is very interesting to me. And so they do a lot of versions of like classic Christmas songs in this that are done in this kind of like eerie way. That's kind of like what the soundtrack is mainly composed of, which like I said just kind of gets me in the spirit.
I feel like when you started talking about this movie like making you want to go spend the couch with like hot chocolate, I felt like this movie just would make you also just want to like dip your balls in hot chocolate. And, like that's immediately what I thought about.
Yeah, like a sadomasochistic type of thing. You mean?
No, more like it's like you're sitting in a chair and you have like a foot bath going, and then you also have like a ball bath of hot cocoa going.
I have never.
Tell me more about this ball bath.
Let me ask you guys something, and this is a very legitimate question. I'm very curious. Have you ever done that thing where you sit in a chair and stick your feet in like some vessel of water?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, only professionally, like at a place,
like a salon or something like that.
And then they touched and rubbed my feet, and I loved it.
Weird. I have never ever done that. Never. I've never
Has
put
anyone
my.
rubbed your feet before?
I've never. No, never in my whole life.
You should try it.
Wow.
I got a massage one time. Didn't care for it. I don't like to be touched. And it's not even that. I'm not like that type of person. It's like, don't touch me. Like, but I'm not Brack. All right. I'm not, but I do. And I'm not even that type of person who's creeped out about feet or grossed out about feet, but I've never done that. I've never sat with my foot in, you see it in like movies and cartoons, in like the Epsom salts or something like that.
So this is like something that doesn't exist in your world.
No, it really doesn't. I've never done it.
Can confirm, would recommend.
Yeah,
for sure.
Never done it. Boy, I haven't even lived. I got to expand my horizons here. Yeah, so we're not going to go through this scene by scene, obviously, because we're like an hour into this episode and we haven't even talked about it. But suffice to say, there's this guy. His name's Jack. Okay, he's a vicious serial killer who I think they say like he's killed like 38 people across X number of states or whatever. I'll
note though that like him as a serial killer is incredibly creepy, and I think it was actually really fun. Like beginning,
but like cartoonish too. Like so the actor. I didn't write his name down, but he's in some other things. Like it's mostly in like this type of movie, but you will recognize him.
Scott McDonald.
Like you see him, you'll recognize his face. Like he's been a commercial actor, I think. Like he has a recognizable face if you grew up in the 90s, I feel like. And he's a very big guy. He's very intimidating. He's very like angular features. He actually looks a lot like what's his fucking name from Typo Negative. Doesn't he kind of
Peter Steele?
Doesn't he kind of look like Peter Steele a little bit, but sans the long hair?
Yeah, sans the long hair.
There's like another.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like he almost reminded me of another like older actor that was completely escaping me, but has those type of eyes.
Yeah.
This is clearly going nowhere, but I feel like he definitely reminded me of a very famous actor.
He's got a distinct look, and you know what? I might even be like associate. I was kind of in, and I think I was like, oh yeah, I know that guy. And I've never, sat there and looked at like who he is, but I was digging into the IMDb's while I was watching it this time. And I was like, oh, I know that guy from a million things. And then I started looking on his IMDb and I was like, I haven't saw any of this stuff. So he really could be that I'm mistaking him with somebody else, but he looks very distinct. So I feel like I recognize him maybe from commercials or something.
Yeah. He also kind of looks like the cat who plays Wishmaster, Andrew Divoff.
He does a little bit. Yeah, he does look a little bit like him. Yeah. He's not as like giant and hulking looking.
No.
But he does look like him in the face a little bit.
Yeah. The one the one thing he does though that is like very obvious, but he only does it kind of once in the beginning, is he's doing a Jack Nicholson impression.
He kind of is. Yeah, you're right.
for a little bit, but not for the rest of the film.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. Even with a couple of the lines that he spits out, because he, listen, spoiler alerts, guys, for a movie from 1997 that was straight to video. He is a serial killer that his soul gets transferred into the body of a snowman, and then he's a murderous snowman. He also does the voice of the snowman later in the movie. And I think he actually, a few of those kind of quippy one-liners that he delivers also sound like they're, pseudo Jack Nicholson impressions.
A little bit.
But he's being transferred on, one snowy Christmas time evening. He is being transferred to his execution. And it's, of course, this snowstorm that's happening. And he's riding in this very well decorated, festive execution truck. It's like a paddy wagon type of thing. He's in the back with another asshole cop on the snowy road. Long story short, he kills, the cop that's in the back with him. There's a damn crash and an explosion, and it collides with this truck that's transferring like some sort of genetic chemical goo, and it melts Jack into the snow, and then he becomes a sentient killer snowman. So the actual ice like gene splicing animation that they cut to is really fucking
It looks almost.
It just reminded me of like a kid's like like Frosty the Snowman from arcade.
Right, yeah,
like
that's exactly what I was going to say. It looks almost like a 1960s or 70s cartoon.
Yeah,
and then like all the cells sprout, arms like they're snowflakes.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is very whimsical and played for laughs. But then there's definitely some gruesome bits too. And it's just like the whole tone is weird and funny. And I think that's why I loved it so much as a kid.
I feel like most of the deaths when they happened, it's like a bunch of like random little shit that you're like, I don't fully care about this is going on. But like then once you get to the kills, they're so solid and so intense and silly sometimes. You're just like, this is just making the movie for me.
They're like gruesome, but also very silly. Yeah. Yeah, so we're about to get into the first one here in a second, but you get introduced to the sheriff who kind of stumbled upon Jack when he was on the run and ultimately led to his his arrest, and then Jack like took basically swore revenge on him when he was being sentenced. And, so he's kind of being haunted by the spirit of this guy who they think has died. And then they quickly realize he has, escaped during this crash and whatever. But his son, the sheriff's son, which I think his name, I wrote it down here a little bit further down. What's his name? It's not Billy. It's the other one.
Jimmy.
I stopped caring about him the moment he was trying to give him like marshmallow oatmeal.
Oh yeah, garbage.
Yeah.
Tommy.
What the fuck is his name? Tommy. Tommy was hatched out of a 1997 egg.
Yes.
Like he literally is just the most 1995 to 1997 kid you've ever seen. And of course, in this town, there's a snowman building competition happening. So you get introduced to some of the townsfolk around that. And most notably, you have one Miss Shannon Elizabeth. She is perhaps one of the maybe three recognizable people in this movie. The sheriff, which again, I forgot to write his name down. He's definitely in a lot of things. You'll recognize him. He is like a poor man's. Who's the guy who was on? Was it Growing Pains? Who had his own talk show?
Alan Thicke.
Yeah, he's like a poor man's Alan Thicke.
Okay, I can see it.
He kind of looks a little bit like him in my mind. But anyway, Shannon Elizabeth is certainly the most recognizable person probably for most people nowadays. And and her family is competing in this. Her name is Jill, by the way. And her dad is a total asshole. He's the asshole right from the beginning. Like her whole family's pretty much like her dad and her son, or I'm sorry, her dad and her brother are assholes. Her mom is like kind of this just like enabler that just pretends that everything's fine.
The mom is definitely like a pill mom.
Yeah.
Like she is like mom. Spaced the fuck out at every point. And she's just like, I wanted to be an angel on top of the tree. Can we light the lights tonight?
She's very disassociated in a lot of ways. But Tommy's his son, and he is.
She's at the tail end of like the lobotomy phase.
Yeah. Like she had chemical lobotomy. Jill is Shannon Elizabeth is just basically trying to fuck this whole time. Like that's kind of her mentality, which is like that's great, but she also like I don't know if she's meant to be like a tease or if she's meant to be like, it's the like, slut shaming thing but you definitely are. She's very likable. I mean, she's a terrible actor. Like we've established this before. Shannon Elizabeth, she's terrible in this, and she really didn't get much better her whole career. She's very bad at acting. But she's obviously very beautiful, and she's a model, right? She's like a model turned actor, type of thing. So I'm not speaking out of school saying that, but she is very likable and like girl next door-y. And of course, like a 12-year-old me was just absolutely in love with her when I saw her on this. But I think she's meant to be like pretty shitty in this movie. Like you're supposed to not like her, but you do anyway.
You're supposed to like by the end of the film, I would say you probably don't like her as much. Yeah. But it takes like a lot of work to make you not like her.
Yeah, you could tell they were trying, and I don't know if it's because she meets like a very gruesome end, and I don't know if they wanted to make it seem like she deserved that or something, but like it feels very mean. In the movie.
Her end is very
mean-spirited.
Yeah,
which we'll get to here in a hot sec. But let's just cherish Jill while we can. She's trying to fuck, and then I think his name's is Tommy the guy that she's running around with, or is Tommy the sheriff's son, the smaller one?
I think Tommy's got to be the sheriff's son.
Okay.
And then I'm trying to find...
No, that's Ryan.
What?
Ryan is the sheriff's son with the 1997 haircut. That is the little weenie that makes the oatmeal. That's Ryan.
Okay.
I think Tommy is the guy whose dad runs the hardware store and is always giving people 20% off on everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's Tommy. Anyway, Tommy and Jill are the ones, are kind of dating or running around together. And like I said, Tommy's always kind of being a little bit of a weenie. But there is a great bit where the first like victim they come up on, where this is long before they know anything about the snowman, is this kind of like old man that lives on the edge of town. And he was just apparently rocking in a rocking chair out in the cold, as one does. And he just got his like neck broke. And there's a great bit where they keep doing this thing that's reoccurring bit where it's like a close up on the cops as they're like inspecting the body. So you're looking from the corpse's point of view at the cops. And there's a bit where it's, the victim is in a rocking chair and you can kind of see his head bent back, but the chair's still rocking and it's kind of creepy. And you're like, well, how is this happening? And then at one point, the one cop goes to the other cop, stop touching the chair.
Yeah, get your foot off the chair.
Which he was just rocking it. I don't know why. That's just that bit always kills me.
These two deputies of Foster and Pullman, like they exemplify galoot.
Yeah,
they are just like both big and dumb.
But the one is also like squeamish, and the one's like unaffected by everything. Oh, yeah. Like they actually have like really good character.
Yeah.
Like they're developed pretty well.
They're both fun. It's just like they are both like. Anytime they're standing in frame, they're always on either side of Sheriff Sam, and they're kind of dwarfing him because they're both big, just dummies,
hulking guys. Yeah,
yeah. But like you said, like at one point, one is off throwing up, and the other is eating Pez while he's looking at a victim
out of the Pez dispenser. Yeah, and he's like, that's when they find the one corpse on the tree. He's like, so you don't think we should leave her up for the 12 nights of Christmas or something like that? Yeah, it's a great line. So yeah, the other person that I honestly, as a kid, this is again, this is just me being a dumbass. The secretary for years as a child, I thought was Adrienne Barbeau. Because doesn't it look like her a little tiny bit?
Yeah, like from Swamp Thing, yeah.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, I thought that was Adrienne Barbeau, but eventually realized that is not the case. But kind of looks a little bit like her. Then you get the first like big kill in the movie, which is Jack Frost, the snowman, is lurking around, hide in plain sight as a dang old snowman would. And you get Billy, who is Shannon Elizabeth's
shitty brother.
Shitty, bully brother. And then you of course have Ryan, the little weenie son of the sheriff. And they're picking on him. He's doing classic bully stuff. And ultimately what happens is he gets knocked down and then someone comes down a sled and cuts his head off.
Well,
literally just decapitates him with a sled.
Well, this is because the Jack Frost has built himself as a snowman outside of the sheriff's house.
Right. And he's just in the yard.
And Ryan is like fucking with it. He's like making it better. He's giving it a nose. Yeah. He's defining the mouth. And then the bullies come by and they're like, get out of our way. This is our black ice run, dork. Yeah. And then they knock the head off the snowman. So
right.
they incur its wrath.
Yeah. So Jack ends up, this kind of.
See, you're saying they're asking for it?
Yes. If a child insults a snowman, they deserve to be decapitated. That's how it goes.
For clarification, guys.
But there's a couple of good lines, and this is another reason why, again, I never questioned that it was a full moon feature, is because there's so many little lines in the background, which is like, in my mind, a hallmark of a lot of full moon features where you just hear these little like peripheral lines by like just people hanging out around. And first of all, you get holy moly, Ryan killed Billy, which we used to say that as a kid all the time. But the music in the background is like kind of this like holly jolly kind of holiday music. And then you hear this little banter in the background. And whenever the dad, who's the one asshole, Shannon Elizabeth's dad, comes and is basically, berating the sheriff about how this happened and how his son's head got cut off. And he's actually playing it. He's acting his balls off. He really is. Like he's really acting. But he's like, your son did this, whatever. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, he did. He's like, Ryan's 2 feet shorter than Billy. Cause he is. He's like, the kid looks like he's 6'2" and Billy's like 10 years old. Yeah. And in the background, somebody goes, Ryan's 2 feet taller than him. Or Billy's 2 feet taller than him. Somebody in the background goes, not anymore.
Which you have to imagine is one of the deputies.
Yeah. I love it. So many good little lines there. But then there's this. This is why Shannon Elizabeth's character is so confusing. And I really attribute it to how bad of an actor she is. Like, I'm not picking on her, but I really think that like she just knows how to play like just like smiley, flirty, funny. Yeah. Like that's all she knows how to play, because they're trying to make her like this like asshole, rebellious teenager. And it just doesn't come across clear at all. At one point when she says something about, Jesus, Dad, leave me alone. Because she like wants to go party, even though her brother's head got cut off like that morning.
Yeah, I have this line written down too, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Because I'm going to mess it up.
Okay, so yeah, she says, Jesus, Dad, I'm just trying to go out. And then the dad replies, he's like, you don't forsake the Lord's name in this house. To which she delivers, and this is the awful acting, because they have to like, they even make a cut to highlight this line, so she delivers it, I guess, the best way. But she's like, the Lord has forsook this house long ago. And she whips her hair around.
I'm like, forsook?
Yeah.
Well, is that a word?
It's a word, but that you just wouldn't say.
No one would say that, especially a teenager. No. It's so dumb.
And just the way she whips her hair around and storms off, it's just all dog shit.
It's bad, but it's very entertaining. So anyway, this is around the time that Shannon Elizabeth's mom and dad get it. Jack Frost. You learn that he can basically melt himself down, go under doors, go through any kind of compartment or something that water could pass through, and then just reform himself on the other side. So first Dad's outside smoking a pipe, and he gets an axe handle jammed down his throat, like handle first, because you think it's just Jack's going to cut his head off with an axe, but he actually jams it handle first down his throat like a sword swallower would, but handle of the axe. And then he strings Mom up with lights. And this is one of the weirder, more like fun, but also like a little bit disturbing scenes, because he's strangling the mom with lights, like, but in a very cartoonish, like Looney Tunes way.
Yeah.
And there's like weird, like jaunty, like folksy Christmas music happening in the background too. And then he puts a Christmas bulb in her mouth and then smashes her jaws shut. Like, so she breaks it in her mouth and then just smashes her face into a bunch of ornaments. Like, it's pretty violent and brutal.
It's wildly brutal, considering like this character isn't, I mean, she's essentially done nothing wrong throughout the film, and she's just been a victim like of her husband. And then she gets this probably the most brutal beating of the entire film. that isn't
second most.
Yeah, that isn't, that isn't just a full on
yeah. Right. It's very mean. Let's put it this way. That's what I like about this movie, is it's so weird and lighthearted and simultaneously so fucking mean too.
Yeah.
It's got some shock value to it. Like, it's not just one of these horror movies that's like, oh, this is silly fun and nothing really is going to happen. No, like a bunch of fucked up stuff happens.
And then they put a lot of time into like the makeup and everything, because there's like different stages of how many like ornaments are in her face, because in the other like
it's not just one shot where they're like, look what happened. There's a process. Also this house, whenever they come in, and the cops come in and stuff, this house looks like every house I was ever in as a kid. Like, it's just, maybe that's why, some of this like cozy nostalgic feel is, it's just this such a like lower middle class, just regular old house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the same type of decorations everybody you knew had growing up. And it just, I don't know. I've been in 1,000 houses that look exactly like that.
It's supposed to be in Colorado, but you're right. Like, all the houses just feel like anything that you would see between here and Michigan.
Yeah, just Midwestern type of regular old houses. You get introduced to Agent Manners and Agent Stone. Agent Manners is like, they're like federal agents. You really don't know much about them, their origins, besides they work for the government in some capacity, and they're like some sort of secret feds. One of them's wearing a black turtleneck, which just tells you all you need to know. So yeah, kind of inconsequential, frankly, until it's time to try to kill him. Like, he doesn't really play that big of a part, and really doesn't at all. Agent Stone gives you a little bit more of like the backstory of Jack Frost, but this is kind of coming to probably the most infamous scene in the movie, which is Shannon Elizabeth. Again, she wants to fuck, and she wants to fuck in the sheriff's house for some reason. And she's trying to get Tommy to come into the sheriff's house and really just set up shop. I mean, not just like sneak in and fuck on the couch. It's like, no, we're going to do a whole series of things. We're going to strip down butt ass naked. We're going to take a bath. We're going to start a fire. Like, literally, we're going to burn wood in the fireplace. Like, you are leaving all the evidence.
We're going to drink their wine. She goes in, and I don't know, Meg, maybe it's because I'm not a woman, but do you commonly dry your hair before taking a shower? Or is that is that a lady thing?
I can speak for, I think, all women. No.
Okay. I thought you were going to say.
Maybe actually all people who.
I thought you were going to say, I don't bathe.
Wow. Brian.
That would have been awesome.
Would have thrown us for a loop.
Would have been a better line. Or just say, like, women don't bathe. Like, what are you guys talking about? Yeah. Like, it's kind of like how when people say women don't poop.
Right.
I can't perpetuate these sort of stereotypes.
Yeah. But I'm watching this through the eyes of 11-year-old me. You got to remember. So I'm trying to channel 11-year-old Brian.
Why would you not want women to like bathe then at that point?
I don't know. You could have told me anything about women at 11 years old and I would have believed it. I never even met one. So You get a great line here where Jack Frost, of course, they're doing this whole like seduction scene, and Jill is like, let's, pull your dick out or whatever. But then she's like, but I need wine and a roaring fireplace before we fuck. And he's like, okay. And she like goes into the bathroom or whatever. And Jack Frost pops in through the door. And then Tommy tries to defend himself, stabs him a bunch of times with, I don't know, is an ice pick or something like that.
Yeah, because he had an ice pick. And I guess this was supposed to like be a thing that threw you off. But he's like getting ice out of the freezer to put in a glass of wine. Which is just a hilarious thing where he takes a sip of wine and
pure class.
He takes a sip of wine and he goes, "Ooh, that needs ice."
Well, it's such a Midwestern thing too. You know what I mean? That was like just further illustrates the Midwestern nature of this movie.
And it's also like shitty rosé too. So like,
yeah. Well, and every single person in my family and that I've ever met in my entire life drinks a wine with ice in it. It's just part of growing up white trash. Yeah. But he's basically, it doesn't, the stabbing him with the ice pick doesn't do anything. So he says something like, what are you or whatever. And he's like, the world's most pissed off snow cone, which is just such a dumb, memorable line.
The lines are memorable because they don't make sense.
No, they're out of context completely. Like at one point when something happened. So later we get to it, they keep melting Jack Frost, killing him, shooting him, melting him, blowing him up, whatever. And he always comes back. And at one point he comes back and he's like, made in a USA or something like that. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? You're a snowman.
The other one is when he even further, and it's basically like towards the end, but like he essentially possesses Agent Stone. Yeah. And he jumps down his throat and possesses him. And then like Agent Stone throws him up in the middle of the street, which like the whole effect is fantastic. You
get a great bladder effect.
It's an amazing effect. I love it. But after he throws him up, he comes up and he's just like, don't eat the yellow snow. And it's like, you're not yellow. What the fuck are you talking about?
If you were yellow, that would make sense.
Is he just pissing his pants? Is that what he's kind of saying? Like pissing his like
I think it's
ball?
Just they had a list.
Is this like a situation where there's piss in his balls?
His balls are full of pee. I think what happened was before they made this movie, they had a nice little 3-ring binder and they wrote a bunch of snowman puns in it. And they just said, we got to use these up, guys. These are fucking gold, comic gold. We got to use them.
They had the actor come in and do the ADR and then just read a list of puns and then the editor threw them in wherever. Put this where it makes sense. Yeah. Where I trust you.
I'd like to see the ones that did not make the cut.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Like in the deleted scenes. So here's a good, this is someone again, so Tommy's dispatched, you learn that Jack can also shoot icicles out of his hands, which is kind of sweet. But if you're doing a B&E, right, probably don't take a bath. Like that's honestly like the one thing you probably shouldn't do. Like don't handcuff yourself to the furniture and don't take a bath if you are breaking into someone's house. But there is old Shannon Elizabeth. She decides to just get butt ass naked and get in the bath. She thinks that Tommy has ran the bath for her.
I'm just gonna make a point to say too. I don't think she would go on my favorite horror butt list.
She's got one of them long butts.
It is a long butt. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's like a horse face of a butt.
God.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Shannon Elizabeth, I don't think people think about her for her butt. She's all face and boobs. She's got, she just doesn't have that what you need in a 2022 butt. You got that mid 90s. As long as you're skinny and pretty, everyone thinks you're hot. Like that's all that you had to be in 1990.
Right. That's the other thing is you have to look at the butt through the lens of time. And in 1997, you didn't have to have good butts because people weren't on butt stuff at this time.
Did you just also say you have to look through the butt?
Look through the lens of 1997 butthole pleasures.
Yeah. People weren't on butt stuff. We weren't on big butts.
They weren't.
We weren't on.
It was all. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're still 3 years away from the thong song even. So like you gotta think of these things within the context.
Yeah, unfortunately. But so
thong song would have already been out.
Was it?
When was
Or
the
it
thong
would have
song?
just been coming.
90. It's got to be right around this time.
Thong song was 99.
Yeah.
So we're
you
still
go.
we're still a couple years
really?
away. Yes.
Couple years. We haven't even crested
Steve,
that.
excuse
We
me.
have not crested that
Fucking
social
Cisco expert over
milestone.
here.
The Red Dragon himself, Cisco.
As a butt connoisseur, I know when butt history occurs.
Steve is a butt historian.
Steve's actually writing a book right now on butts in history.
Butts throughout history.
Sorry, I didn't mean to like blow your cover.
It's
there,
okay.
bud.
Like Cleopatra, the first, iconic butt. I don't know. Anyway, the tub water turns to snow because Jack inhabits the tub. And now this is when you get, like I said, the most infamous scene in the flick, which I don't remember if the last time I watched this, I watched it on Tubi. I don't think so. I think the last time I watched it was last year or the year before, but it was on the Joe Bob Christmas special. In one of the fairly recently, and I'm pretty sure this scene was there in its entirety, but in the Tubi version I just watched, it was not. So here's what happens, guys, and I'm just gonna lay it out to you, plain and simple, straight talk you. She gets raped by a snowman. I mean, that's really the long and short of it here, guys. Shannon Elizabeth there's a scene where she's basically in the tub. The tub turns into Jack. He kind of stands up. He is holding her. And in the version that I have watched many times, you actively see him take his nose off and put it where his dick would be, and then start kind of smashing her against the wall. And the implication is that he is raping her with his snowman nose / dick. The version that I saw, you don't see him take the nose off and put it in approximate snowman dick location. So
it's weird though, because in at least on the Tubi version, like he does put it back where
back on,
and then like delivers a couple lines about like, I guess Christmas came early.
Yeah, he does the line.
Or to send her some flowers. But
it's one of those, something about send her flowers. But like the one thing is, like, I don't know if, like, I've seen this movie enough times that it's like, is that in my head that he does that?
Is that a Mandela effect?
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah, is it a Mandela effect? But I'm pretty sure in the VHS version that we saw many times, that's what happens. You physically see him take the nose off. Where in this instance, all of a sudden the nose is floating in the tub, and then it's just not on his face, and then you see him put it back on his face. So I just remember it being way more obvious what was happening and not as much implied. But yeah, maybe somebody can comment on that. I don't know. But it is it is certainly the most infamous scene in the movie, because it's obviously pretty brutal and pretty tasteless and and awful, even probably by 1997 standards. But yeah, that's probably one of the scenes people remember the movie for. Yeah,
I mean, and that's just a credit to the film being an independent film with no breaks, no producer who says, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, maybe
you should, maybe don't.
Yeah,
no, there's no maybe don't here. There's just some weird old British guy who's just like, fucking snowman with the nose.
What if the snowmate raped her?
Oi. Why don't you get a snowman up there, give her a little bit of old in and out.
He takes his carrots off and gives her the in and out, doesn't he?
We're just turning it into Clockwork Orange. That's actually a great spinoff, because the nose is orange, so it's anyway. So the snowman, actually, boy, that could be a Halloween costume, Jack Frost, or you dress up in the iconic like milk bar outfit from Clockwork Orange, but you're a snowman.
Oh God.
That might be tough to pull off. Anyway, so this crazy.
It's just the head, just like do the head, but the makeup on the snowman face.
Yeah, you got to put that little eyelash
Orange.
eyelash thing. Yeah, so
I'm not gonna lie, is this gonna be weird doing that? I've never seen Clockwork Orange.
You never seen Clockwork Orange?
I haven't.
Ooh,
check it out.
You should see it. You should see it. It's also, it's a great movie, but there is some very unpleasant parts.
I stopped it right during the rape scene that was 10 minutes into the movie.
Home invasion rape scene. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. Stanley Kubrick, turns out pretty fucked up. Anyway, so, everyone's snowed in this town. No one can get in, no one can get out. That's the whole thing. There's a crazy snowstorm coming through. So they take to, hey, it's on us. The cavalry ain't coming. We're going to have to deal with Jack Frost. So like I said, they shoot him, they melt him, they blow him up in a pretty good explosion scene. They blow him up with some gas. They blow him up with the damn boiler, all this stuff doesn't work. He puts himself back together. Even perhaps my favorite scene. So they do this thing where they shoot the melting snow in reverse to make it look like he's like coming back together, which is a cool effect. But they blow him up and then he puts himself all back together. And when he comes back together, all his pieces are all messed up. And he goes, "Look, Mom, a Picasso." That's a great line.
It is a pretty good one.
So Agent Stone, you do get the explanation from him. He's some sort of fucking psychotic government, scientist or whatever, who created some, I don't know, gene bullshit to like help the world live through nuclear holocaust or something.
This guy is in the same government arm as the doctors in Carnosaur.
and also the doctors in Uninvited that are doing the cat research.
They're all in the same
that just
lab.
Go out in the parking lot, just with guns.
It's a very interesting subdivision.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of dumb asses that they just give really dangerous abilities to. Just a bunch of fucking sociopaths. But he explains that basically he created some sort of, blah, 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 chemical shit that combined with the snow and Jack's DNA during the crash. And now he also goes into this thing, which they do, I guess, kind of allude to. You could argue, but it might be giving them too much credit. But he basically says that he also has proven that the soul is a chemical, which I always thought was a pretty interesting claim. And you could say at the end, we'll get back to it at the very end, it's not particularly exciting, but the ending actually in this movie like kind of falls a little bit flat, but it's like that's kind of what you expect from a movie like this. But he's proven that it's a chemical. So you're like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. Ultimately, they end up attacking with hair dryers, and then he comes back with big giant icicle teeth, which is the best version of him. Like that's the evolved version of him. Like that's the Charizard of Jack Frost when he's got the big fucking icicle teeth. He kills Turtleneck.
Is a Pokemon reference for that?
He's Blastoise. Would you prefer that? I guess he's water type Pokemon. If Jack Frost is a Pokemon, he'd be water type Pokemon. Let's be real.
It didn't change my opinion about what was happening.
Okay, all right. So you didn't want more Pokemon minutia is what you're saying. Okay, gotcha. Anyway, so Stone is like kind of like
Meg was a Beyblade girl.
Yeah. She also, what? You can't get too deep into this ultra nerd shit that only Steve and I would probably know about. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad about it. Let's put it this way.
I don't feel bad about a single thing.
Good, because the references we're making are not like things adult men should know a lot about, but we do.
I mean, a little bit just want to understand the references, but the other side, I'm like, no, I don't.
We should. I'm also sitting here, guys. Again, a 37-year-old adult man playing with McNugget buddies.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's really just where we're coming.
I was curious
from.
what you had in your hand because I almost thought it was a carrot, and I was like, are you like just have a carrot hanging around with you?
No, it's McNugget buddies, but I do have a lot of Ninja Turtles around me, and again, I'm a child, but. So Stone is the scientist that's like, don't kill it. We have to understand it. We have to, study it, whatever. And he ends up going into Stone's body, which you don't realize at first. But like Steve said, he comes walking out looking like, he's somebody wearing a dang Edgar suit, and he comes out like, rah, 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 and his neck's all bulging. There's like this pretty cool, bladder effect that you get. And then he barfs up all this snow. And of course it's, Jack has went inside of stone. And when he comes, that's the don't eat the yellow snow line, which again makes no fucking sense in the scenario. But ultimately you learn that, again, kind of distressing. They don't really bring it up, but you do get a decent callback because earlier in the movie, the little fucking psycho kid of the sheriff's made him this disgusting looking breakfast that was just like oatmeal, but marshmallows in it or something.
It looked like the mash after a Southern Tier brew day. So
yeah. But also Buddy the Elf was the brewer,
right.
So it was just like mashed a bunch of shit.
Gloop Glops there.
Well, no,
he did the granddaddy of Gloop Glops.
I'm just saying it's the leftover mash. It's not the beer itself.
That's true.
He got all the chocolate and oats
the spent grain.
Yeah.
But he's basically, he doesn't eat it obviously, but he says something to him because at one point he smashes, Jack in the face with the bag of the oats that his son gave him, and it kind of melts away Jack's face. And he's like, "What the fuck did you put in that?" And he was like, "Well, I didn't want you to get cold, so I put antifreeze in your oatmeal," which again, not cool. Like that would have definitely killed him.
Which now at this point better lends to the idea that maybe he did kill Billy.
That's what I'm saying. He was a fucking sociopath all along. And I wish in the second one it came out that he was the killer, or something,
or just
like
a
that.
killer. Like
it's just a killer in general.
He tortures animals and stuff. And
yeah, like if he was just like, oh, Ryan. Ever since Ryan got the chair, or something like that. So he realizes it's antifreeze, and that's the only way you can kill Jack is with antifreeze. So very quickly, they are able to muster together an entire. What I can only describe as a hillbilly hot tub, which if you don't live in the middle of nowhere and probably haven't done this before, back in the day when we were little, we would get somebody with a big 8-foot bed in their pickup truck, or you can do it in any pickup truck, and you'd put a tarp, a nice new tarp with no holes in it, in the bed of the pickup truck, and then you fill the bed with water. And it's like it's a swimming pool, right? We used to call it a hillbilly hot tub. Sometimes you just dig a hole in the ground, put a tarp in it, and then fill it with water.
So this is the point where we stop and ask, because you were curious and maybe somewhat critical about Meg and I using foot baths. How many of us have been in hillbilly hot tubs?
Yeah, I get it.
I actually have not.
And I don't believe I have either.
I have, guys. I have. Anything, honestly, and this isn't like you guys are weird for having soaked your foot in hot water. I totally get why that would feel good. I am saying it's weird that I have never done that or seen anybody do it.
I think we should combine these two worlds and just do a very small hole.
Yeah.
And you just fill it up with hot water and just put your feet in it.
This is a good idea. What if we did?
It might make you feel more comfortable. This would be a whole business. It's an outdoor,
So I have a big fire pit outside, and I do like to do bonfires in the wintertime. So I should build a bonfire. I'll dig a hole. When the ground gets a little soft, I'll dig a hole, and I'll put something in it, and then I'll get some coals from the fire to heat the water up.
Yeah,
and then you can
just have it. You can have it circ around the fire, and then goes into a pool, and then it circs out. You figure it out.
It's like a little moat. Yeah. I have pumps. I can make this into a whole thing. All right. I got a project this weekend, guys. All right. You do get a pretty cool stunt here where the sheriff is wrestling with Jack, as you might imagine. And he does a whole, just fucking spears him. Just Bill Goldberg, Saint Nick himself, Bill Goldberg, spears him off the fucking, I don't know, balcony or a damn portico. I don't know what that thing is, but he spears him off of it into the bed of the truck, the hillbilly hot tub full of antifreeze. And then you get the whole melt effect. It's the guy's acting his balls off. He's really flopping around in that damn, pool or whatever that was. I'm sure it wasn't real antifreeze, but just when you think he's dead, the arm comes back and grabs the kid, which is great. It's one of those things where they kept going back to that trope, which was he's not dead yet. He's not dead yet. He's not dead yet. How many times, honestly? 1, 2, 3, 4, just 5?
Yeah, it has to be more than 5 times, I think.
Yeah, that they're like, well, that's over.
We got him now. We figured it out now.
And there's 45 minutes left in the movie. Yeah, and then the kid gets dunked in the antifreeze. He gets baptized in antifreeze, straight up John the Baptist style in the big baptismal pool full of antifreeze, and then that melts the arm. And then here's where I'm confused, and I get that maybe I don't get it, but here's what I think the ending means. So the morning breaks and the cavalry is coming in. You know, the feds are coming in their black SUVs, and they are burying the remains of Jack Frost at this point, because when they put the antifreeze on him, it kind of like turned him human in a way, because you started to see like flesh and bone and like gore inside him, where previously it was just snow.
Right.
So the antifreeze turned him back into, his corporeal form or his human form in some capacity. So they're burying him. So the idea, I think, is they're kind of burying the evidence, but they basically say like, what are we going to tell the feds? And they're like, we'll just tell them it's too late or something like that, which is it was some ambiguous quote like that. But they're burying him in a hole, and they're apparently filling the hole with antifreeze too, but the antifreeze is still in jugs, closed, sealed jugs.
I think they put it back in the jugs.
Why?
Because that would imprison him and keep him from. Because so the way I took it was that the antifreeze strips the ice and the water away from his body, but like once they do that, there's nothing physical left of his body, so it should have been bloody.
Oh, I understand. Yes, I'm stupid. Yeah. So basically, his body was liquefied.
Yeah,
because I took it as there were physical. Because I was like, why would you even bury him? But because I saw the gore,
right?
Because you see like the flesh and stuff like that. So what you're saying is his entire body dissolved into the antifreeze, and then they put the antifreeze back into the jugs and then buried him.
Because
that makes more sense. Because
like if you go back to when he's initially transformed, he's like hit. It's called like an acid of some sort, and he's hit with acid,
right? And
so he's basically dissolved into blood, into the snow, but it also has that acid with it. And so like once you strip the ability for him to be corporeal by making it melty, and then they just dump it all they put all the antifreeze in a jug and say jug goes in the ground.
Yeah, and then you do get the underground shot of one of the jugs, boiling. So you're like, he's still in there. He's alive somehow. That's really funny that I've seen this movie so many times and never put that together. Like I am genuinely questioning my intelligence right now. The other thing is, this is one of those movies that I've probably started it 50 times, and I've probably only watched it beginning to end 10 times.
Sure.
Because it's just one of those ones you throw on and then you get all stoned and you fall asleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? You just rarely get to the end of it. It's just one of those types of movies.
Well, like I said, I fell asleep watching the Riff Tracks version like probably 5 days ago. Or like a week ago or whatever. It's one of those ones I start and I watch Riff Tracks and I just fall asleep and I go, I know what this is. Bye.
We get it. Good night. Bye. So anyway, guys, that is Jack Frost. You're very, very welcome. And I hope that this is, turned over a new leaf in your life. This is going to set you on a track to a different trajectory of happiness and prosperity in the new year.
I don't believe you.
I could have been a lot worse. I think this was a fun movie.
I mean, you could have been meaner, and this is really fun, and I'm glad I got to watch it. I just don't believe your intentions.
No, his intentions are to try to trick us to vote for him again next month, but no.
What a weird thing to say.
No, I
what a weird thing to say.
Bullshit.
I was listening to the episode. Do you remember last episode where I tricked Megan to offering a trade for the movies? That was so funny. I fucking got you so good.
I was so tired and was
you were like
very heavily.
You could tell you were drunk and tired and confused, and I just took advantage of it. It was so great. All right. So, what are we doing next week? Do we know already?
Yeah, we're gonna do Christmas, Bloody Christmas. The new.
Oh yes, we're gonna watch Christmas Bloody
The new Joe Bagos film about the Santa Claus Terminator.
He looks sick. The previews look awesome. I'm super excited for that. There's so many good new Christmas movies. You got the Mean One coming out with what's his damn name? The guy who plays Art the Clown.
David Howard Thornton. You've got Violent Night, which is obviously a much bigger budget thing, but I'm definitely still going to see just so many good ones coming out this year. So many good ones. All right, guys, tune in. We're going to talk about that one next time around. And also, don't forget, we've got 3 topics for you to vote on the social medias. So once you listen to this, if you haven't already, go on the Instagram and the Twitters and even the TikTokies if you feel so inclined. I think Meg posted on that in probably June. So you might not have seen that one yet, but go. She's just rolling her eyes at me right now.
I don't even know what's happening.
But
I'm not even that drunk right now.
I'm too drunk to taste this chicken. So they go over to the TikTokies, check it out over there. But we're going to vote on Instagram and on Twitter. It's at Halloween is Forever on Instagram, at Hallow Forever on the Twitter, and you can help us pick what our Showdown episode for that hot garbage month of January. But we have 3 very cool topics. Again, cosmic horror, space sequels or sequels in space, and little monsters, in parentheses, not gremlins. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to do any and all of those. So anything else, guys, that I'm forgetting here?
No.
That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, guys, you have yourselves a holly jolly little mid-December here. Soak up the Christmas spirit. Meg, are you in the Christmas spirit yet? I know you're struggling with the spirit. Oh, you guys also, it's your birthdays. This is both of your birthday months,
Steve,
which I forgot.
On your birthday, and I feel like such ass. I saw it the next day.
Yeah.
And we're going to be recording another episode on my birthday, but I won't be as quiet about that.
Yeah, well, I don't care about my birthday. It happens. I have some donuts, and then I move on.
I don't either, but at the same time, I want you guys to care about my birthday a little bit.
That's what I do. My birthday just means I'm going to have chicken wings and donuts. That's literally my birthday. Like
so excited.
My birthday is I'm going to go to Big Shot Bob's. I'm going to get some wings, and I'm going to go to Orem's and get some donuts. That's what my birthday is all about.
Brian, you know what my birthday is now?
What?
This is how, so I used to be an asshole and be like, oh, everyone care about my birthday, blah, blah, blah. And then I stopped and I decided to live my birthday for myself.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I only exclusively do things for myself on my birthday. Yeah. Which, shut up, Steve. I don't know if you even understand what I'm saying.
No, I get what you're saying. It's just, it's funny because like you turn it around, like you stop imposing it on other people, but then you just cut everybody out and you're like, I'm doing me. Fuck off for the day.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Okay. You guys, again, this open invite is also for
Bring
you.
Bring me booze.
No. This is what I started doing a few years ago when I started having this switch in my brain to stop caring and expecting things very seriously, but also really fun. And I'm happy about it. Is that I find a BYOB place and it's an open invite for whoever wants to come. And we just bring 40s, have a nice dinner.
Sick.
And drink 40s.
I like that.
And then I usually surrounded a show or like an event or something. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As long as I don't have the plague, I'll come. I currently am plagued. But, happy belated birthday to our lovely friend Steve, and happy soon-to-be birthday. Actually, we're going to record on Meg's birthday, so we'll celebrate that then. And by celebrate, I mean just a passing mention.
I'm actually going to drink a 40 on that.
Sure.
You should. We should actually start doing that. Here's an idea. Here's a really good idea. Tell me if you like this. I know the episode should be over, but we're still talking. Here's what we should do. The punishment episode every month. The person who picks the movie should also pick what the other two drink.
Oh.
I kind of like that.
Isn't that kind of fun?
I don't hate it.
But should the person who won have to like pay for it? Because what if it's something?
Yeah.
Unless it's like, okay.
I think that's okay.
I think if you want to,
if you're picking something wild,
yeah. If you want to
Like
keep
if you're
it
picking a 40, fine.
right, yeah. If you want to keep it simple and just like whatever the garbage is at Giant Eagle, that's 2 for $6, which is like Mike's Hard Freeze or whatever. You can go get that on your own.
Is this like a secret ice situation too? Like
maybe.
you just show up.
I don't think it's.
Just
I
hand
don't
them
think
a
it's
paper
secret.
bag. Just hand you a paper bag.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
got to
no,
drink
this
this.
is what I'm thinking is like, since we haven't been recording in person at all, like the person who won has to like mail the other two the beer. But we can't open it until we're on the show.
That's a good idea. Or we can also start recording in person again because nobody has the Crovis, although I'm currently plagued, but not with the Crovis, but just with some other horrible thing.
I just need to start having time again with my life, and I'm trying to figure it out.
I know. I'm finishing my basement. My basement's almost finished too, so we won't have to jam up here in my office. So my basement by the end of the week will be, finished and actually be a livable space. So maybe we'll start doing the basement, and then we'll, drink 40s in my basement, which is really what my basement's for.
That does feel like more of a crypt.
I know,
like crypt or cal of sorts.
I know, and my office is way too full of shit anyway. So
and I have been really needing to like cuddle your puppy, and I know Bruce would love it too. So
yeah, you got it. Yes, he loves to play with he loves to play with other dogs because my other dog, who's like 14, will not play with him because she an old bitch. She mean. Anyway, guys, all right, let's wrap it up here, guys. Go out there and watch yourself some Jack Frost and enjoy your holiday weed drugs or whatever you enjoy when you watch dumb movies like that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Mushrooms would be great.
I know you always keep promising mushrooms, and then I'm currently mushroomless. So anyway, for the Halloweenies Forever crew, I'm Brian.
I'm Meg.
I'm Steve.
All right, see you later. Bye.